Right, so this is going to be my first weekly outlook on the 16th of August 2026. It's pretty much going to be part of a bigger series called Road to Profitability, where I will pretty much show you the journey of going from where I am now to that profitability factor. And then after that, we'll probably do more series such as Road to 10K, 20K, all of that good stuff. But yeah, what we'll do is pretty much before the start of every week, I'll go for a weekly outlook of what I'm looking at, where price may go, and what I sort of want to see happen. So we'll start off with DXY. Now, sort of on the daily time frame, this is what we're currently seeing. Now, what we need to understand is that price is in a bullish trend on the daily, right? We can see we broke this high. Obviously, this is our respected low. That actually should be in red. So we'll just take that one from here. So we can see that this is our daily swing point that got taken, our swing low, and then this is the most recent swing high. The blue ones are more internal sort of structure. Now, looking at this, right, taking a closer look, what we can see is we've got these daily fair value gaps. We've also got this area here, which if price wanted to get that high up, then we can see it. Obviously, bearing in mind that we need to obviously expect price can do anything, right? Especially with all the economic drivers and things that are happening. You know, you could have a bias of price wanting to go lower today, but within the next couple of days, price could be going higher. So it's all about having an open mind and just replaying the scenarios and understanding what can potentially happen. Now, I've obviously marked out these areas. These are sort of liquidity areas. We can see we've got these highs, and then we obviously have our swing high as well as the overall target. But what we can see that price could potentially react off of this level, move up higher, potentially react off these, or we can go straight to the highs. Now, another scenario is we need to understand where we are currently, right? We are sitting within that equilibrium level. Now, depending on how price reacts to this, next week we could either see that push higher that we want, or we could see price take this liquidity out, right? Obviously, you need to remember this is internal liquidity. A lot of people will look at this and say, right, okay, we broke, we're now selling, we're going to start shorting. No, we need to understand on the high time frame, our swing points, right? This is our high and this is our low, right? As long as price keeps this low intact, we are still going to be in that bullish sentiment. This is just internal liquidity that price will take. So that's why obviously trading on the lower time frames, a lot of people will look at this and be like, all right, okay, yeah, it's time to start shorting, and then next thing you know, you get stopped up. So overall, for going into next week on the DXY, I'm expecting to see potentially price could react off of this level. Sort of early week, we can put the low of the weekend, and then we can start looking at taking those positions towards these FVGs. If not, what we may see is we may see a sweep of this low and this low. Obviously, these are relatively equal lows as well, right? When we look at it, actually, these are equal lows. So these are equal lows. Actually, no, yeah. Well, you could say whatever. So it's pretty much relatively equal lows. So that's a really good liquidity factor right there. So we most likely what I'm expecting to see is price to wipe out these lows, right? Grab that liquidity, and then we get a push up from this sort of level here. This level right here. Now, one thing I will say is I don't mark the supply and demand levels where everybody marks it, just like that. It's like exactly to the body, and I just think it's a waste of time. You can't always pinpoint where price may go, right? We want to look at where price could come to, right? And this area we can see it's a high volume area. price can react off of this and move higher. And looking at the opposite is we can take these highs, right, and then do something like this. So now, depending if we're going to break these fair value gaps, imbalances, whatever you want to call them, and taking these highs and all of that, we don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see what price does and take it from there. But obviously, overall picture, the bearish sort of, the sweep of liquidity then moving higher is more probable in my eyes. Main reason is because obviously we're in that imbalance sort of area. Price has been consolidating for a while on the daily as well. You can see that, and there hasn't been much volume. So taking out these lows, going a little bit more into these discounted areas, and then moving higher, I think is a much more clearer picture. So where does that put us with Euro USD? So same sort of thing. Obviously it's the opposite, but what we can see is, let's get this out. We've got our low and our high. Obviously price did break this, meaning that people will look at, okay, cool, this is our leg. No, on the daily time frame, on the higher time frame, overall picture is from here to here, right? This is what we're seeing. So we have just about we actually haven't tapped the equilibrium zone when we look at the closer, right? We actually haven't tapped it just yet. So I would say obviously we are in this daily or the block supply, whatever you want to call it. We have obviously tapped into before, we reacted a little bit, but price failed to move lower, which tells me that price could potentially want to go a little bit higher, right? Which kind of aligns with our DXY bias, or wanting to sweep the lows that we saw on DXY. So let's draw this out. Obviously DXY, we had something like this. Obviously we wanted to sweep these lows, come a little bit lower, and then move higher. So if that's what we're seeing on DXY, right, on the euro, we want to see the same sort of thing, but sweeping those going down. So we want to see this, right? So looking at it now, we can see we've obviously, again, we've just been consolidating for a little bit. We want to see price take out these highs, potentially take out this area right here as well. Maybe move into this sort of high volume area, and then we see price shoot lower. Or again, we can see price potentially move straight lower. Obviously, one thing we need to also realize is when you look at price here, we don't have the equal highs here compared to the equal lows that we have here, right? So remember that if DXY does take this, likelihood is we could potentially see Euro USD moving without having to take those highs. Okay, so we need to remember that if it was the other way around and Euro USD took it and DXY didn't, then just most likely what we'll have to see is your DXY come up higher, take out the same highs, right? Because remember, that's just how it works. And meaning Euro USD will have to move higher for that move, right? So yeah, we'll see how the week goes. But this is what I'm seeing. If I was to go down to lower time frame, let's have a look. So the sort of the liquidity that we have to target is obviously we have the weekly low from last week, and then we have the previous weekly low as well. These are both intact, but again, we need to remember that this is weak liquidity, so this is where price would want to take out. We do also have it on the higher time frame, which is our overall target. We've got this main target, which is our daily swing low, right? We have this whole leg, so price coming up to here, moving lower is what we want to see, right? Is what I want to see price do. So Yeah, it's nothing too complicated. It's pretty straightforward. We've obviously already taken this liquidity. We failed to actually close above, which again, it's a little bit too early to make up scenarios and say, right, well, price is definitely going to go lower, but it gives me an indication that price is not strong enough to close above it. Obviously, this happened on a Friday, so we'll see how Monday opens. It may want to obviously take that and then move lower, or we may see something like this. Price moves lower, um, and then gives us that high of the week, and then obviously we can enter and target those lows. I can go to the hourly as well just to show you. So this is an internal low that I would want to see get taken out before I assess any positions, because we need to see some sort of intent. We can't be trying to enter blindly, right? We can't just enter here, or price comes into here and we enter, because we don't know what price wants to do just yet. So we may see price push higher, or we may see price take those internal lows, give us that high of the week, and then we can target our actual targets of our previous weekly lows, and our weekly lows, and hopefully the next couple sort of weeks we can see price come down to these daily swing lows. Right, just looking at the 4 hours on the DXY. Yeah, so on the DXY, super choppy. There's no clear picture, except obviously we have our liquidity, right, which shows us where liquidity is, but except from that we don't really have anything else. We obviously took liquidity during the week last week on these highs. We've respected it and we've carried on moving lower. So yeah, we may see price give us a little push up, maybe into these imbalances or this area here before moving lower, which kind of goes with what I said on EURUSD. Um, so we'll have to wait and see what we see. We'll just have to assess as we go along. It's just how we want to do it. We don't want to go into this with a straight narrow bias of this is exactly what I want to see. As traders, we want to adapt to the market and see, sort of decide as we go along, right? That's how it works. For example, last week we had this is the scenario that we had. I looked at this and I thought, okay, we can potentially see price move lower from here now. So Monday, I said, right, okay, this is going to be our weekly um, high, and then we're going to move lower. Obviously, coming into Thursday, we made the low of the week, and price shot straight back up to take these highs. Which again, you can see anything can happen. This was obviously news, but if you were positioned within this area here, right, because you could have taken it like this, which is what I would have done, right? And then we had this putting in the high, right? You could have entered either within this area, you could have entered within this area like this, and you could have targeted that level, or you could have even targeted these lows. It sort of depends what you were trying to get out. We came up again on Wednesday for CPI, and then we shot lower, but this is what I mean. I was expecting price to carry on lower. Friday obviously close. If you don't know how a weekly candle works and the anatomy of a weekly candle, highly recommend having a look. I can make a video if that's what you guys want, but overall we want to see Monday, Tuesday setting that higher low of the week, and then Thursday, Friday obviously is closing that out within our weekly our trend in the week, on the week, throughout the week. So yeah, that's what you could have done, and there was a couple positions you could have taken. You could have taken the buys back to the upside, if you wanted from here, right? Which is one that I was looking at, but again, it was a very risky buy, because obviously we understand that overall we're looking to go lower, and we've just tapped into that daily order block. So it would have been a bit risky if you had taken it, which there isn't a problem with taking, It's just managing your risk correctly. So this would have been a low risk entry, which is something I was looking into, and you could have just simply entered like this, targeting that high, expecting price to go higher, and you would have made a bit decent money, a bit, a bit a decent position. You could have risked 0.25% or even lower, depending on what you're looking at. Obviously, the other position that would have been a full risk position. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at now. Looking at the sort of news coming up, the main thing that I am worried about, well, not worried, but the main thing that I'm going to be careful about is this, which is obviously FOMC on Wednesday, which is in the evening. But except from that, we're not really seeing anything crazy. We've obviously got sort of other news drivers for the dollar, which it could be obviously a good or bad thing. It just kind of depends on how things come out. But when it comes to news drivers and economical drivers, especially when you're swing trading, it's actually a good thing because it's what helps price moves, rather than seeing prices consolidate constantly. These news drivers can give it that fuel for what we want to see. It's just when we see sort of high impact news is when we want to be careful, and also any sort of like war, or Trump tweeting or anything like that, that's when we need to be careful, because we can have our bias and price can do something completely random that is not aligned with anything we want to see or anything that price is telling us. So yeah, that's pretty much the overall weekly outlook that I'm looking at. Yeah, let me know if there's anything you guys want me to go over, maybe a little bit deeper into the mechanics of the strategy. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next week.